Some late night Saturday hoops at the base of the Wasatch Mountains. Cincinnati in the black, BYU in the home whites. And the Bearcats control the opening tip. Starting five for Wes Miller and Cincinnati across the bottom of your screen. Shot clock inside 10. Aziz Bandago inside off the feet from Dan Skillings Jr. Starting five for BYU. And the same group that Kevin Young has been rolling with recently. And they're coming off a strong second half performance and pulling away in Boulder Tuesday night and knocking off Colorado. Trevin Nell in and out on the three. Aziz Bandago secures the rebound for Cincinnati.
That was a great drop right there. Right now they're putting Mag on Jizzle James. Jizzle James does a good job getting to the paint.
Jizzle James the pull up, and the rebound tipped out by Yegor Demon. Diving for the loose ball, and Dylan Mitchell with a hustle play.
That's what you want to see. Start from early on, from the start. Getting on the floor for loose basketballs.
And well short from Simas Lukosius. Trevin Nell, three.
That's what you cannot do. You cannot help same side corner. Yegor Dimon will always find Trevin Nell. He knocks it down. You have to be there on catch, and Wes Miller is not happy with that one.
Dan Skillings Jr. and the kick. Corner three, Jizzle James rattles out. And the back tap by Mitchell to keep it alive. And the three by Simas Lukosius.
He's a guy that is slowly starting to figure it out. Struggled early on in conference. Last 3 games, double figures. If he gets rolling, this Cincinnati team is hard to beat.
They need him to knock down shots.
They need him because they struggle to shoot the three. They struggle to score offensively, but Simas Lukosius does so much good for them on the offensive side of the ball.
Trevin Nell moves in. Drop off. Keba Keita.
And that right there is a great pass. Good find by Trevin Nell.
Tied at 5, nearly giving it away, Jizzle James. Dan Skillings Jr. missing from deep, and the rebound tipped free, and Yegor Demon tracks it down in front of the Cougars bench. Richie Saunders on the drive, and Aziz Bandago claims it for Cincinnati. From the outside, Dylan Mitchell, but kept alive. Another offensive rebound for Cincinnati.
2 offensive rebounds early on for Cincy. BYU has to do a better job of blocking out.
Yegor Demon with the blocking foul on Dylan Mitchell.
Let's take a look at this right here. Trevin Nell, the vision to be able to get this ball to Keita. That's a high-level pass. He really didn't have an angle, but he created one out of nothing. More than a shooter.
Dan Skillings Jr. rattles out, spun around. Last touch by BYU will stay at this end.
Once again, BYU has to do a better job locating bodies when the shot goes up. That is the 3rd offensive rebound for Cincinnati so far.
Keba Keita breaks it up. Kept alive, Simas Lukosius missing from the corner, and a foul going for the rebound. And there's some grimacing from Dylan Mitchell, who's still down. And Mitchell called for the foul. Transfer from Texas.
Take a look at this right here. Ooh, just an awkward fall.
And the athletic trainer for Cincinnati comes to check on Mitchell, who had a long way to come down, King.
I mean, he's so athletic. He skies up so high. Like you said, Roxy, when he lands, that's a long way to come down because of how high he elevates.
Mitchell still getting checked out. And again, he was called for the foul. Look how high Mitchell was and how far he fell.
Yeah. Cincinnati needs him.
And the brunt of it was like on the back, lower back, the right hip area.
He got up. He's good. He's a tough kid.
Tied at 5. Cincinnati and BYU just getting going from a sold-out Marriott Center in Provo. And we're tied at 5 early in this one. Good to see Dylan Mitchell staying in the game for Cincinnati as Richie Saunders gets free for a lay-in.
That's where BYU gets you. You're so concerned about the three that they curl and get easy twos.
Strip from Simas Lukosius. Mawit Mag. Ahead Richie Saunders. BYU will set it up in the half court.
That was a great closeout right there by Jizzle James. He knows Trevor Nell is looking to shoot the three in transition. He was there on the catch, didn't allow him to get it up.
And Yegor Demon trying to lead Keita. Here's Day Thomas off the bench for Wes Miller. Has some space and knocks down a three.
Day Thomas is not shooting it well. Hasn't made a three in the last 4 games, but good ball movement in transition will allow you to get open looks like that.
1-point lead for the Bearcats. Trevin Nell gets the flyby. How about that move from Trevin Nell?
He's gotten so good. Him and Richie Saunders driving closeouts, pump fake, get to where you want to go. One dribble floater, one dribble layup. They've gotten so good at driving closeouts.
Nell's showing you he's not just a one-trick pony. Jizzle James from deep, in and out, Keita. The rebound, here comes BYU.
And those are the shots, if you're BYU, you want those shots. You want the backcourt of Cincinnati to take those threes.
Trevin Nell, in and out. And the rebound tip to Cincinnati, and here comes Day Thomas for the Bearcats. Simas Lukosius short on the three, but another offensive rebound for Cincinnati. They leave Dylan Mitchell open, and he missed everything.
And Cincinnati is so good when they get into the lane. That is where they thrive. Shooting threes on the last 3 possessions, that is not their strong suit.
Cincinnati foul on Simas Lukosius. First on the senior from Lithuania who began his college career at Butler.
This right here, just a good take by Mag. In transition, had Dimon over there to the right. Had he not got fouled, probably would have kicked it out for a 3. But that's how you attack in transition. That is the speed in which Kevin Young wants to play.
And an errant pass off the inbound. Richie Saunders threw it away. And Cincinnati will put it in play in the baseline because nobody touched it when the ball went out of bounds.
Those are the plays for upperclassmen that drive coaches insane. Unforced turnovers cannot be a thing.
Arrington Page had it poked away by Fousseyni Traore. 2-on-1 for the Cougars. Dallin Hall missed the layup, and it's pulled down by C.J. Frederick Jr. Back the other way, pushing and getting inside. Day Thomas with 5 points early.
That's where he excels. In transition in the half court, being able to break you down, get through your defense, get to the rim.
Inside 10 to shoot. Dallin Hall in the lane. It spins out, and a tie-up. It belongs to BYU.
And if you're BYU on the ball screen, Cincinnati drops their big. They play a drop coverage, so those floaters will be there all day. You have to be able to knock them down.
10-9 lead, Cincinnati. Good pass inside, and Richie Saunders. Dylan Mitchell flying in to block the shot, and he is jacked.
Yeah, that is why Wes Miller loves this young man, because of the effort that he gives on the offensive glass and defensively. Look at this. He comes from nowhere to swat it from behind. Those are the high-level winning plays that you expect from a guy like Dylan Mitchell.
He plays so hard, King, and with so much effort.
Yeah, and he's a Wes Miller type of dude. He is going to give 100% maximum effort every single time he steps on the floor.
Here he is inside. That's Arrington Page missing the turnaround. Fousseyni Traore clears. And they're getting Dylan Mitchell for a foul, and Wes Miller's in disbelief. That's the second on Mitchell.
I don't know if I agree with that foul. However, Dylan Mitchell with two, like we talk about, he means so much to this team. Now he has to go sit down. You could have done without that foul right there, especially when the offensive player is going away from the basket. Nonetheless, I don't know if I agree with that one, Roxy.
It was a little touch foul.
It was a little tic-tac foul.
Cannon Catchings, the talented freshman.
Complete basketball games on both sides of the floor. You had guys rolling at the same time. I think in the conference, it's been a struggle. Their defense has been really good, but their offense has been struggling. Lukosius started off not really great. He was in a slump early on in conference. Now finally get it going, but now Dan Skillings is in a slump. So it's one of those things where you have to be able to get the whole group, your main guys, on the same page offensively and defensively.
Ball comes into Richie Saunders, and he has to pull the trigger from deep, and he does.
Richie Rich shooting 52 from 3 in the last 4, averaging 21 in the last 2. This young man is playing extremely confident, Roxy.
5 each for Richie Saunders and Trevin Knell to lead BYU. As a hard take to the basket and a good finish, Dan Skillings Jr. for Cincinnati.
That's where Cincinnati is so good. They drive closeouts and they put pressure on your defense. When Dan Skillings is attacking downhill, that's one thing Kevin Young mentioned to us that he was a little concerned with.
The flip shot, Dawson Baker for the Cougars. Day Thomas, who leads Cincinnati with 5. Coming off the bench for Wes Miller. How about that defense? The steal, Cannon Catchings. And he's swatted by Josh Reed coming over to help out.
That is what Kevin Young emphasized. Cannon Catchings, his minutes have gone down, but he has so much potential. Take a look at this steal. He's so long that if you play with the basketball in front of him, he is taking it from you. This young man, when he figures it out, will be an NBA player. But right now, he's still trying to learn. He's still trying to figure it out.
We've already had 7 lead changes in this game and a couple ties. Fousseyni Traore goes to work down low, and he gets the roll off the heel of the rim.
He's so good one-on-one down low that you almost have to send a double. I mean, look at the size differential. It doesn't matter. His shoulders are big. He hits you in the chest, creates space, and he has good touch around the rim.
He's given up 6 inches to Aziz Bandaogo. Simas Lukosius. Bandaogo had it stripped by Dallin Hall, and BYU has it. Almost the midway point of half number 1. And the largest lead of the night for BYU. Fousseyni Traore. Josh Reed pulls it down.
Better defense right there by Bandego. Didn't allow any angles.
Dan Skillings Jr. attacking for the Bearcats, and now he is shaken up. We saw Dylan Mitchell go down earlier, and he's been back in the game since. And now Skillings.
He might have got poked in the eye.
And Wes Miller talking with our officiating crew. And there it is right there. Cannon Catching's got him.
Got poked in the eye.
John Gaffney, our lead official, working with Ray Natilli and Robert Felder tonight. And they're going to go to the monitor here. There was no call on the floor.
Previous plays being under review for a flagrant 1 foul.
It shouldn't be a flagrant. It shouldn't be anything right here. They have to look at it because it's contact above the neck, but this should be nothing. You should play on.
There was nothing called again on the floor. The made basket for Dan Skillings Jr. is still getting looked at. As there he reached for the left eye. Now getting helped up. Cincinnati, who got off to that great start through the non-conference. They had some good road wins, King. They went to Villanova and won. They won at Georgia Tech. So this team is road tested.
This is a really good Cincinnati team. They've just had their struggles in conference, but it doesn't take away, like you said, with what they did in the non-conference. This is a really, really good Cincinnati team when they're all on the same page. I just think right now they are not on the same page, which is why they've had their struggles early on in conference.
There's our crew discussing it. And for BYU, they've won 2 of their last 3 coming in to this one after a really good comeback in the second half. They got down early against Colorado, but they dominated the Buffs in the second half of that game in Boulder Tuesday night.
And talked to Kevin Young before the game, and he said he was so impressed with how they played in the second half. That was one of their better halves of the whole season. I mean, Yegor doing a good job finding his teammates, getting to the rim. He said that's an emphasis that he's been talking to Yegor about, getting to the basket. He settles for too many jump shots. Get to the rim because that's when he's so dynamic. But that was a very, very impressive half right there.
And I've seen BYU a lot so far this year, King. And recently, the last month and a half or so, ever since he got hurt against Providence in early December, I thought that was the best I've seen Yegor Demmin.
Yes.
Tuesday night against Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing right there as they give the ruling right now.
Previous play has been reviewed and the play stands. No flagrant 1 foul.
And I think the referees got it right. No flagrant. But back to your point, Roxy, I think that's the thing. This BYU team can get to another level once Yegor, once Cannon Catchings start to figure it out. They're still young. They're still freshmen. And I think that's what people tend to forget, even though they're getting a lot of hype talking about their NBA players. But they're still freshmen. They are still trying to figure this thing out.
And Cannon Catchings has gone through some lows recently. Got off to a really good start. But I don't know if it's a freshman wall, but just looking at him, there seems to be a confidence issue with him.
It's hard to adjust. That's one of the most difficult things for freshmen to be able to do on this level. Number one, adjust to the speed of the game. Number two, not have those lulls, those walls. Your confidence, you have to remain the same at all times. You can't get too high, can't get too low.
Dawson Baker gets in the paint again. Shot clock at 10. Jizzle James, and challenged by Yegor Demmin, who pushes. Here's Dallin Hall. Dawson Baker. Good defense from Simas Lukosius, who takes it away from BYU, and then a foul against the Cougars. ACC Big 12 Big Monday doubleheader on ESPN. We'll start at the ACC at Cameron Indoor as number 2 Duke and Cooper Flagg take on NC State Live coverage tips at 8:30 Eastern. Then we head to the Big 12 and a big one in the desert. Down in Tucson at McHale Center, Keyshawn Gilbert and Iowa State against Caleb Love and the Wildcats. Monday on ESPN.
That'll be a big one.
I can't wait for Iowa State.
That will be a big one, especially with the way Arizona's playing. When Caleb Love can be Caleb Love that we know and love, no pun intended, Arizona goes to a different level, and they are really hard to beat.
Turnover on Cincinnati. But once conference play started, and there you saw stepping on the end line and a turnover. Tyler Betsy with the giveaway for Cincinnati. But since conference play started, Arizona has found it.
They have. They weren't shooting it great. They were struggling to really, almost like Cincinnati. They were struggling on the offensive side. But as of recently, they've had big games from Bradley, big games from Caleb Love. And they're good. Defensively, they're a top 25 team in the country.
Cannon Catchings, tough shot from the corner. It's a three.
And Coach Kevin Young talked about how Cannon Catchings had one of the best practices that he has ever seen all year from this young man. And we see him competing on defense. We see him hitting a tough shot in the corner. It's translating.
3 threes for BYU, a 9-2 run silenced by Day Thomas. And they have called basket interference. Initially, they weren't calling it. Then the BYU bench went ballistic. They are going to review it during the timeout. Because they made the call on the court, they can review it. And the offensive goaltending basket interference will be reviewed here during the timeout. You play referee.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's definitely goaltending. No bucket. Athletic front courts in the Big 12.
Two of the top dunkers in the country, Dylan Mitchell and Aziz Bandaogo. They were just too aggressive on the last offensive sequence, as during the timeout, the offensive basket interference was reviewed, and it was confirmed on the floor, so no basket for Cincinnati. As Richie Saunders spots up, had a good look at a three, and the rebound tracked down. Tyler Betsy for Cincinnati. How about that burst to the basket? But then Aziz Bandaogo can't clear it up. Dylan Mitchell has it. Jizzle James, a pull-up jumper.
He loves that mid-range jumper. He is a mid-range killer. He gets to that area, it's typically a bucket.
First points for James, the sophomore from Orlando. Went deflected into the backcourt. That's why Yegor Demin could go get it. Richie Saunders, good defense for the Bearcats. 5 on the shot clock. Yegor Demin, a deep three, and the offensive rebound, Kebakeda for the Cougars. Inside 6 minutes left in the first half. Dawson Baker, 3 times we've seen him do that tonight.
Closeouts are so important when you're playing against BYU because you're so focused on trying to run them off the line, but they do a tremendous job driving closeouts, getting to that mid-paint area, rising up, knocking down the floater.
Balls off for Jizzle James. BYU looking to break out. Running the floor.
That's a
Richie
dive.
Saunders then blows the shot at the rim. He thought he was fouled. So did the crowd. A step back from Jizzle James. And that goes out of bounds to BYU.
Take a look at this right here. How you close out. You run him off the three-point line, but you have to stay attached. Baker cuts him off to eliminate him from contesting the floater, gets to his spot, rises up. Closeouts are so important when you play against BYU. You think that just because you run them off the three-point line, you've done your job. No, they are the #1 two-point percentage shooting team in the Big 12 because they can get to the paint and get easy layups because you're so focused on them knocking down threes.
5 to shoot. Richie Saunders. Out of bounds. We're going the other way. Belongs to Cincinnati.
Right now, Roxy, Cincinnati needs to find a way to get to the lane. I like that Thomas trying to create off a ball screen, get to the paint, create for others.
The thing offensively with Cincinnati, King, I see also, nothing comes easy.
Yes.
They don't get easy buckets.
Yes, and that's why I feel like they settle too much. We saw earlier on in this game, they settled from behind the arc instead of really trying to put pressure on the defense and penetrate.
The lob ahead too high for Richie Saunders, out of bounds after the Josh Reed missed 3. With just over 4 minutes left in the half. 7-point lead for BYU. It matches their largest. And Cincinnati is just 28% from the floor, and they're 2 for 12 from 3.
And I like this by Kevin Young, this 2-3 zone. When you have Saunders and you have Dimon at the top of the zone, 6'6" and 6'7", it can make it really hard for the offensive team to see.
Trying to play pinball at the rim. Arrington Page can't get the putback.
But that's the biggest thing. When you're in zone, the matchups when it comes to blocking out, they look a lot different. So you have to put an extra emphasis on being able to secure rebounds.
Inside 10 to shoot. The spin by Dan Skilling Jr.
Loves the spin move. Can get to the paint, bump you off with the shoulder.
3:15 of the half. Here's Dallin Hall, rather Trevin Nell. And the pass broken up, intended for Fousseyni Traore. Here comes Cincinnati. Even with the struggles that the Bearcats have had offensively, they're down just 5. Trevin Nell took it out of bounds with him. Will stay Cincinnati ball, and I think Nell's a little bit shaken up. He's walking off whatever bothered him. And Nell had a monster game last year here against Cincinnati. A game the Bearcats won, by the way. And you saw there Trevin Nell when he went down.
Yeah, an awkward landing. I mean, good backside help there right there. Good vertical contest. I like the aggression, though, by Skillings. Even though it's a little out of control, I like that he's trying to get downhill. That is what Cincinnati needs to do. They're not a great shooting team. Try to get downhill and generate offense that way.
Last year, Cincinnati won here 71-60. And they outscored BYU 49-29 in the second half of the game. Skillings on the baseline. And BYU comes away with it, and Hall. Trevin Nell had a career high 27. He made 9 threes in the game last year against Cincinnati. And our featured women's basketball matchup is Te-Hina Paopao and number 2, South Carolina, take on Tennessee in Knoxville. Monday, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. A big Monday matchup in the SEC.
South Carolina coming off that big win.
Yeah.
Against LSU.
Handing LSU their first loss.
Yeah, big time dub. It is so hard to play at South Carolina.
Stripped. Arrington Page on the deck, trying to wrestle it away. And the arrow belongs to the Bearcats. So we'll go the other way. And a Cincinnati ball with just under 2 minutes to go in the half. But in that game last year here, BYU attempted 46 threes against Cincinnati. 46.
The new day and age of basketball. That's how you play, especially when you're at a school like BYU, when you have so many great shooters. I mean, if I had as many great shooters on the team as BYU and I was the coach, I'd do the same thing.
Aziz Bandaogo returned to the floor, and for a year he played just 10 minutes up the road at Utah Valley for Mark Madsen. And now in his second year at Cincinnati at Utah Valley, he was the WAC Defensive Player of the Year. And they get it to him over the top.
And that right there is a great drop out of the zone. Screen the two outside defenders of the 2-3 on the backside. Easy play.
The native of Senegal, Aziz Bandego. And the offensive foul. The illegal screen. Mawit Mag, his first.
Let's take a look at this. This is just good execution. Screen Traore, the big man, walk him up a little bit. And just a good pass right there by Jizzle James on the money. Good drive right there by Wes Miller. Looked like the ball was almost about to go in.
Simas Lukosius. And the shooter's touch gets the roll, and we have a tie game.
What a great back screen right there by Bandego to free up Lukosius.
7-0 run for the Bearcats. As Yegor Demin, and a foul. And it's on Jizzle James, and with 45.7 left in the first half, these will be the first free throw attempts of the night.
This right here, I mean, yeah, it was a foul. He goes into Jizzle James, even though Jizzle James is about 6 inches shorter. But James is stronger, bumped him off of his path. Good call.
The 6'9" freshman, Yegor Demin. Most projections have him going in the lottery next spring to the NBA.
And he's definitely that level of good. What I've been most impressed with is his passing ability. I mean, at 6'9", to be able to hold it down at the point guard spot, he sees a lot of things that 98% of point guards do not see because they're 6'4" or under.
2-point lead for BYU as we take a 30. Threes.
Hey, you let him see one go in, you were in for a long night, and Cincinnati learned that the hard way. Trevin Knell is an elite level sniper from behind the arc.
"27 points in that game last year. And he is 7th in BYU history and made threes.
With 45 seconds, Roxy, don't be surprised if Cincinnati tries to get a quick shot up so they can get the last shot of the half.
Go that quick 2-for-1, but they're taking too much time. The flyby, Day Thomas, and the rebound, Mawit Mag for BYU. And there's about a second and a half differential, so essentially BYU can do that play for the last shot now.
Yeah, it took a little too long, probably longer than Wes Miller would have liked right there. So BYU were in the half, or should end the half, with the last shot.
And the foul, but the Bearcats had one to give. And that's on Simas Lukosius, his second. Team foul number 6. The next one puts the Cougars into the bonus.
I like this right here. Put Dallin Hall and Demin in the game at the same time so you can have two playmakers, two passers who can get to the lane and create and get a good look for you.
Yegor Demin pulls up for 3. Got it. Three-quarter court. Off at the buzzer, and the late 3 from Demin, and a 5-point lead for BYU at the break.
Want them taking. They have to continue to get stops, get out in transition. 10 points, almost 50% of your offense came from points off turnovers.
And the Bearcats did not shoot a free throw in the first half of the game. Trevin Knell. Here is Yegor Demin, who ended the first half with a 3 and starts the second half the same way.
This is a really good sign. Yegor has not shot the ball well. He has not been scoring the basketball. So for him to see some go in at the end of the first half and to start the second half, huge sign for Kevin Young.
Foul on Trevin Knell of BYU. Largest lead of the game for the Cougars. And Demin now leads BYU with 8.
Right there on the catch at 6'9". The 6'2" Jizzle James is not affecting that on the contest.
And BYU has scored 8 straight points going back to the first half, in all 8 from Demon. Simas Lukosius answers for Cincinnati.
Now, everybody on Cincinnati right now, Lukosius is the one guy that you have to close out hard to. You cannot allow open shots like that for Lukosius.
And a foul going for the rebound and a push on Dan Skillings Jr.
That bucket should be good.
So the basket is good.
Yeah, the bucket should be good.
And the foul was jockeying for position. So give the 3 to Saunders off that roll. And Nell was shoved by Skillings. That's the foul.
That's just an unnecessary foul right there by Skillings.
And so the foul going for the rebound, it'll be a throw-in for BYU on the baseline.
And Wes Miller upset right there because he thinks it shouldn't have been a bucket. The shot was already released, and the foul happened while the shot was in the air. Therefore, bucket good.
By the way, the 28 points in the first half for BYU, the fewest they have scored in a first half at home this season. But a good start offensively to the second half, but Diego Demon threw that one off our official, Robert Felder, and then it went out of bounds to Cincinnati.
And that right there is the vision in which Diego Demon has. I mean, yes, he threw the ball out of bounds, but there is somebody supposed to be at that top X. The top X and the corner X is supposed to be filled. Mag right there, cut. Shouldn't have cut. Had he stayed on that top X, it would have been a bucket.
Demon's the guy that you better have your head up and know where the ball is at all times when you're playing with him.
He sees things before they appear. That's what high-level passers do.
Mawit Mag got his hands in there. Mag runs the floor and a foul. And the foul on Jizzle James, his second.
This right here, good defense. One too many dribbles right there by Skillings. Good defense leads to easy offense or a foul.
Mawit Mag to the line. 2 shots for the grad transfer from Rutgers. 75% from the line this season. Battled some injuries when he played at Rutgers. It's come off the bench for a little bit. Now he started the last 4 games for BYU. And his first point of the night, and it's now a 9-point margin, the largest for BYU.
And now with this 2-3 zone, find a way to get the ball in the middle. Attack inside out. Find a way to get the ball to the middle of the zone.
Deep 3. And the miss from Simas Lukosius. Trevin Nell has the rebound. Here come the Cougars. Richie Saunders. He's got a quick release. Timeout, Cincinnati.
That's why he will be the #1 pick in the draft.
Largest lead of the night for BYU on a 7-0 run. And they have come out with a sense of urgency on offense. They have 10 points already since the break and are banging threes. Cincinnati right now in a real danger zone. Jizzle James on the drive. Had it stripped. Simas Lukosius just beats the shot clock.
And they needed that. BYU on that possession did a good job closing the driving lanes, forcing Cincinnati to be able to shoot those threes. But that time, they didn't take the bait.
Lukosius leads Cincinnati with 11 as Keba Keita rocks the rim on an alley-oop. Jizzle James. And it trickles into the Cincinnati bench. BYU ball.
Let's take a look at this. Off the pick and roll. No backside tag. They lift the shooter. makes it wide open. And if you get any bit of angle, Dimon is going to throw it up. Keita's going to throw it down.
And the athleticism of Keita, the Utah transfer. He had an impressive alley-oop against Colorado also on Tuesday night, which I didn't think he was ever going to get the ball, to be honest with you. I thought it was too high, then, oh my gosh, he got it. Mawit Mag goes baseline.
If you're Cincinnati, as good of a defensive team as you are, they are getting picked apart right now in that pick and roll coverage.
Day Thomas. And a loose ball. Simas Lukosius tracks it down for the Bearcats. Tough shot from the corner. And the box out, and Richie Saunders grabs a loose ball for BYU.
BYU is not closing out hard. They are giving you space, not allowing you to get by them. And they're going under all the ball screens, taking away all the driving angles. Cincinnati is struggling on the offensive side right now.
And a foul is Mawit Mag on the drive. And it's on Jizzle James.
Yegor Dimon. You want to know why he's a lottery pick in this upcoming draft? Because he can make passes like that, and he makes it look easy.
Getting a foul on Cincinnati and a hold. And it's on Tyler Betsy. Fourth on Cincinnati here in the second half. It has been all BYU since the break. Yegor Dimon. And the first miss from the field by BYU in the second half, with the rebound out of bounds off the Bearcats.
Actually, right now, this seems like the danger zone for Cincinnati. If you're Cincy, you have to get it done on the defensive side. You have to get stops.
Trevin Nell. Three. Second three for Nell.
And those are the plays that Wes Miller is going to show in film. 84% of Trevin Nell's shots are jumpers. You know he is an elite level shooter. When he catches the ball, you cannot allow any space, because if you do, bad results.
Yegor Dimon hit the three right before the half. In the second half, it has been rolling for the Cougars. Arrington Page is tied up. And he didn't want to give up the basketball, and he got tangled up with Trevin Nell. And the possession stays with Cincinnati.
This right here.
That's my ball. Give it to me. I'm not letting you have my ball.
This 2-3 zone that BYU has been running.
Here's Page off the inbound. And Page draws a foul. It's on Keita. And these will be the first free throws of the night for Cincinnati. And, all right, how many text messages, calls? Yeah, I made a half-court shot. How quickly is it up on the IG?
Hey, that's going up immediately. That's a big-time shot.
And the rock doesn't distract Arrington Page. One more shot for the transfer from USC. The Atlanta native who also played his high school ball with Isaiah Collier at Wheeler in Georgia. They went to USC together. As Keita clears the miss. The Jazz are out of town, or I'm sure Collier would have been here to see his buddy Arrington Page. I remember talking to Paige last year about, okay, who committed first? The miss from Trevenell. K to the offensive rebound, picked off. Dylan Mitchell. That was pretty.
Saunders did a good job.
Prevented the highlight reel dunk.
Prevented the highlight.
Could have ended up on YouTube for the rest of his life. First points of the night for Mitchell, but Paige telling me, no, I committed first. And then Isaiah felt he wanted to come with me a week later.
This is a good steal right here. And just a good finish. And I think that is Cincinnati's best offense. Getting stops, getting steals, getting out in transition, and converting off of those turnovers.
Getting those easy buckets.
They have to get something easy, because in the half court with this 2-3 zone that BYU has been running and sticking with, they've struggled.
They've attempted 19 threes tonight, 39 shots from the floor.
Because typically when teams play zone, they bait you into taking those threes, and you tend to fall in love with it.
Tyler Betsy drives the baseline.
Ooh, that's a strong take right there. Finishing through contact. Could have been an and one.
Two-time Connecticut Gatorade Player of the Year, his first points tonight. It was 17. They trimmed it to 12. And Richie Saunders puts it to 14 as he has 13 points. Arrington Page misfires on the three, and Yegor Demon gets the rebound. The strip, the hands from Mitchell, diving for it. Tyler Betsy, but BYU gets it back. And the foul on Dylan Mitchell, his third.
And he might have gotten away with 2 fouls before that one was actually called. Very, very handsy. He did a good job of getting back in position, but when you get back to position, you have to be able to play without your hands and stay in front of the basketball. And this right here, just take a look at this. That's 1 foul right there. Another one right there. Gets back into position. The referees don't call it. However, they let you slide on the first 2. You have to play without your hands for the last one.
Dallin Hall to the basket, and that's an offensive foul. Fousseyni Traore called for the clear out, and that's an offensive foul on BYU.
Let's take a look at this. Yeah, on the clear out.
Can we get Kalani Sitake back in the building, the BYU football coach?
I bet you he would
like that.
He would love Traore. He would love that young man right there.
Help him seal the edge. Tight end.
Especially with the way Traore moves. He would love him.
The offensive rebound, Arrington Page, the putback.
Oh, off vertical. I love this substitution right there. You put Page and Betsy in the game. Page instead of Bandego, because you need more offense, especially at that 5 spot, and Page can give you that.
Richie Saunders gets free. 16 for Saunders. $11 for Saunders here in the second half. And a whistle against BYU. There she is. The star during the last timeout.
Shot a 10.
A 9.
A 9 out of 10.
Almost a 10. Almost.
No. I feel like I'm Keith Lee right now. Reviewing food. I'm 9 out of 10.
The legendary Cougar tail in the first sampling for King McClure here tonight at the Marriott Center. A sellout crowd, and BYU with a strong second half. Can Cincinnati make a push as it rattles out from the corner from Josh Reed, and we're going the other way. It belongs to BYU. See, I had one earlier today in the women's game. I can't do two in a day.
I mean, it also helps that I haven't eaten since 10 a.m. So maybe I'm just like extra hungry.
And I really, to be honest, I only had 2 bites of it. As Richie Saunders continues to stroke it from long range. 5 for 6 from 3 in the largest lead of the night for the Cougars.
I want to talk about food. Richie Rich is out here cooking right now.
Saunders has scored the last 8 points for BYU. Here he is. Missed the leaner. Arrington Page the rebound. Inside 10:15 to go. And the baseline.
That's automatic. Jizzle James, when he gets to that mid-range pull-up, you can almost count it every single time.
And Richie Saunders, by the way, he has outscored Cincinnati here in the second half.
Just look at this right here. So confident. Off the bounce. Because Cincinnati drops their big, those type of shots is what something that BYU practiced for the past few days.
Cougars had a terrific second half in Boulder on Tuesday, and they're following a similar pattern here. A tight game at the half, and the second half they're putting it together. Fousseyni Traore lays it in.
Well, you can't allow Traore to get that type of position. He does a good job of sealing, forcing the ball to go over to get easy layups.
Pulled down, here comes Cannon Catchings. Leads the break. Mawit Mag. And it's poked away and stolen by Cincinnati. Transition 3. Simas Lukosius rattles it in.
Lukosius is starting to figure it out. Last 3 games, double figures, following up this game right here. If anything, that's a great sign.
Cannon Catchings answers for the Cougars.
And you want to talk about great signs. Cannon Catchings, you're slowly starting to see the confidence develop now for this young man.
Arrington Page, nice usage of the window.
That's so nice right there. The bump spin, to be able to kiss it off the glass with your weak hand. Arrington Page is extremely skilled down low.
Strip from Dallin Hall. And a run out for Cincinnati. Day Thomas. And Cannon Catchings changed the shot, and then BYU tracks it down.
And those are the plays when you're down 16 on the road, you have to convert.
Dawson Baker gets in the key. Timeout, Bearcats.
And that's why Wes Miller called that timeout, because he is extremely frustrated. On the road down 16, you have to finish those. Dawson Baker to the lane. Impressive. And I think both teams have some work to do to secure a spot in the tournament, but both teams are good enough to be in the NCAA tournament.
And the thing that probably infuriates Wes Miller about the way this game is unfolding is that three-point defense. He was not happy as the backdoor lob for Dylan Mitchell. But he was not happy with their three-point defense coming out of the Texas Tech game when the Red Raiders made 12 threes in Cincinnati earlier this week.
You know, we talked to him yesterday, and one thing that he said was, oh my goodness, as you see Cannon Catchings catching fire.
His third three.
But
he's 3 for 4 from downtown.
But when you talk to Wes Miller, the thing that he kept reiterating to us, Roxy, was that you have to guard the three-point line, and that was an emphasis on their scouting report. However, they have not been able to do that. And nothing drives a coach crazier than when he puts something on a piece of paper in a scouting report and you don't follow it as a player.
You know what BYU is going to do.
Yes. 100%. So for you to go out here and do the opposite, let them get easy looks, not run them off the line.
I mean, come on.
The film session next practice will be brutal. I've been in a few of those, Roxy, and those aren't fun.
BYU is 9 for 11 from 3 in the second half.
I still have horror stories from being chewed out by Jerome Tang. And Wes Miller really upset right now.
Stepping into a three, the miss from Dawson Baker. And here comes Jizzle James for Cincinnati. Deep three from Day Thomas. And that's way off, and here comes Cannon Catchings out of the pack. Leads it for Keba Keita, and it's off of Keita. We're going the other way. It belongs to the Bearcats.
Let's take a look one more time. This Mitchell dunk, good back screen right there by Lukosius. You stay attached to Lukosius because you're scared that he can pop out to the three-point line, so there's no backside help. Nice lob right there.
Tyler Betsy missing a three. And it just seems that Cincinnati's just content to launch threes. Featured ESPN2 Big Monday women's basketball matchup as number 2 South Carolina and Tahino Paopao take on Tennessee in Knoxville. 7 Eastern, ESPN2. Big Monday. Big matchup as South Carolina coming off that big win, leaving just one undefeated team on the women's side after their win over LSU.
It's so hard to play against a team that is legitimately 10 deep. And what they do to you defensively, they speed you up, they turn you over, they make you extremely uncomfortable, and they have so many bodies to throw at you. South Carolina is probably my pick right now for national championship contention.
Dallin Hall lobs it for Keba Keita, and the rebound there is Dylan Mitchell for Cincinnati. Mitchell and a foul, and Wes Miller wants a goaltend. The foul is on Dawson Baker of BYU. Second on Baker.
You know, Dylan Mitchell is a guy in which offensively, he's been in double figures every single game in conference except one, where he laid a goose egg. But offensively, he's looked so much more comfortable under Wes Miller. His offensive game, he's able to show what he can really do. He can push in transition. He can pass the basketball. I think last year, he was more of a cutter. He was more of a guy that was just a rim threat, a lob threat. But this year, he looks so much more fluid under Wes Miller. So credit to Wes Miller for really improving this young man's game.
There's nothing going right for Cincinnati tonight. It was a 5-point game at the half, and BYU has ballooned this lead to 22. And a foul, and it's on Dan Skillings, and the second on Skillings. T-foul number 7. So BYU into the bonus. Demon and Skillings bumping knees right there, and the knee was the issue for Yegor Demon early in the season. 1-1 for Yegor Demon. 8 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds for Demon tonight. Number of NBA scouts here to watch him tonight. Executives, including the legendary BYU product Danny Ainge. There's Danny.
There's a legend right there.
Jersey hangs in the rafters here at the Marriott Center. As Yegor Demon now in double digits with 10. 8 straight for BYU and a 24-point lead. And the pull-up jumper for Jizzle James.
And I like that offense right there. Swing, reversal, right into a ball screen to allow Jizzle James to get to his mid-range pull-up. That might have been some of the best offense that they have run against this 2-3 zone all night.
After tonight, Cincinnati will stay here in the state of Utah. They'll move up to Salt Lake City. And on Tuesday night, they'll play the University of Utah at the Huntsman Center. And BYU will get ready for your alma mater. Baylor is here Tuesday night. They were up in Salt Lake taking on the Utes tonight.
And they're starting to look better. VJ Edgecombe, and with Jeremy Roach being out right now, VJ Edgecombe is taking that next step in his offensive game. He's looking comfortable from behind the arc. He's scoring it more efficiently. He has to have a big game if Baylor wants to beat BYU.
Yegor Demon, pull-up 3.
He's starting to look more comfortable scoring the basketball. If Demon can score like he's scoring tonight, if he can continuously do this night in, night out, that takes this BYU team to a completely different level.
Rebound, Dallin Hall for the Cougars. Richie Saunders rims out a 3, and the rebound grabbed by Arrington Page for the Bearcats. Page lost the handle. BYU 10 for 14 from 3 here in the second half.
And on a positive note for Cincinnati, you only have 9 turnovers in this game. I mean, you took care of the basketball. You just couldn't get anything to go inside the rim.
Yegor Demon is fouled. 2:14 remaining in this second half. It's been all BYU.
Yegor Demon showing us the versatility in his game. Not just a passer, but also a scorer. Number 3 for 3.
You're dealing with that,
Yeah.
but you're also dealing with altitude. And
Yeah.
coming up into the mountains.
Yeah, we learned that in my senior year. We ended up playing Syracuse and Gonzaga in the tournament in Salt Lake City at the Jazz Arena. And we learned about the altitude real quick. Really quick, Roxy, as a matter of fact.
It hit your lungs?
Oh, yeah, immediately. As soon as you step off the plane, you're gasping for air.
Some of the home court advantage for Kevin Young and BYU. And the Cougars, as Demon was fouled shooting a 3. Goes 2 for 3 from the line. But BYU shooting 71% here in the second half. Their highest percentage in a half prior to tonight was the second half against Colorado on Tuesday. In Boulder, they shot 68% from the floor.
Well, they're starting to figure it out. I mean, the ball's starting to move. They're starting to get easier shots. BYU on the offensive side is really starting to figure it out.
Raven Griffith, the redshirt freshman from Cincinnati, getting some time here late. He's played sparingly this season for Wes Miller. Raven Griffith with the bucket. BYU still has their frontline guys in there here as Richie Saunders will get to the line here with 90 seconds to play. ACC Big 12 Big Monday doubleheader on ESPN. We'll start it at Cameron Indoor. Cooper Flagg at #2 Duke against ACC rival NC State at Cameron Indoor. Coverage tips at 8:30 Eastern. Then we head to McHale Center for #3 Iowa State taking on Caleb Love and the Arizona Wildcats.
How about Curtis Jones for Iowa State? He's been terrific. You know, for the longest, we were talking about 6th man of the year. Now we're talking about an AP first, second team All-American.
Mass subs for BYU and Kevin Young. And one more for Richie Saunders. First appearance for Trey Stewart tonight. Also the freshman from Augusta, Georgia, Elijah Crawford. And Saunders now will leave as Brody Kozlowski, a local kid, checks in for BYU. And also the first appearance for Mihailo Bošković, the junior from Serbia. But a dominant performance, especially in the second half from the Cougars tonight.
They look good. The ball is moving and knocking down shots. Yegor Dimon, Cannon Catchins contributed offensively when it comes to scoring the basketball. Something you need from those two guys. At home, BYU is so tough to play against.
Arrington Page with the bucket for Cincinnati. They're going to go to 10-1 here on their home floor this year.
Ooh.
Elijah Crawford hangs.
Ooh.
And the 4-star recruit freshman, who's a top 100 player coming out of Brewster Academy with the points. It just isn't playing time available for a highly touted freshman this year.
The hesitation was nasty.
Loose ball diving forward, Tyler Betsy. Jizzle James, the lob for Page. And it's knocked away from Page, but out of bounds was Crawford. He tried to fire it off Arrington Page. And we'll stay here with Cincinnati at this end. Some regrouping for the Bearcats before they play Utah Tuesday night.
And it's not going to be a pretty film session. You're probably going to stay out here in Utah. Tomorrow will probably be a brutal film session. But you have to refocus in the Big 12. You call it short-term. You have the short-term memory.
Raven Griffith, the bucket.
If you let this loss hang over to the next one, now all of a sudden, that's 2. You go 0-2 on your Utah road trip. You have to be able to forget this one, move on to the next, and figure out ways to win.
Tremendous second half for the Cougars. They go 14 for 23 from 3 tonight. Correction, that last shot counts. They've tied a season high with 15 threes.